Welcome to another throwback episode of Art Pays Me, where we go back to 2023 when I hosted the Art and Movement exhibition with Haliente and the Halifax Salsa and Bachata Festival. This time we had Cain, and Cain is an educator based in Nova Scotia. We talk about the importance of movement in her work, and we also get into some of her experience as an educator and some of the important lessons that she feels that kids should probably be learning at an earlier age than they do currently, and that it's not just kids of African descent that need to learn about the black history of this land, but it's beneficial to everyone that we get that education. So this was it was a short one, but interesting to get to hear Kim's perspective on that. I hope you enjoy.
Okay, so I got a relative of someone who's been on the show before. It's Kim Cain, who is sister of... Who's your sister?
Cindy Cain.
Cindy Cain. So Kim Cain is here. Kim, thank you for submitting to the show Art and Movement. Really loved your work. One thing really stood out for me with your work in particular is it was one of the few that didn't reference dance in particular specifically. It was more yoga and a different kind of movement. And that was kind of the thing that I thought was important to capture when we decided to do this, was that I wanted it to be movement in the broadest sense, even though this show is a celebration of dance, this event is a celebration of dance specifically, but I was like, let's make it open. So what was your motivation behind these works?
I think just the whole idea of movement and, just keeping yourself agile. And so I just kind of connected that to hot yoga and just like how it impacts my life at this age, and just, yeah. So it just kind of went together, the art. You do the art, you do the yoga, you get in the tub and you go and you do the art. It's just kind of all flows together.
Nice. What does the term art and movement mean to you in that sense?
So it means a lot of different things, two-dimensionally when I think about my approaches to work and how I approach my canvas. It's a moving thing where I move around the canvas and usually I'll work on the floor. But then there's also that whole idea of art movement in terms of dance and, the body as an instrument and using it. And I think that's where that yoga comes into it for me, because it's kind of that tuning of the instrument in order to, to do what you want to do. I always wanted to be a dancer, but I didn't do it. I went to art school instead.
I wanted to be a basketball player, and I went to art school, and now I got a leg that doesn't work. So, oh man. So when you were telling me before, you went to NASCAD. We both went to NASCAD. We just sort of miss each other. You graduated in 2001?
2001.
And I started in 2000. And so what did you do at NASCAD?
I was a self-proclaimed materials manipulator, and they could not tie me down into one department. So I started off in sculpture, and then I went to textiles. I did sculpture for a minute, printmaking, and went to painting at the very end.
Nice. So, you fit into that whole multidisciplinary creative that a lot of people just are today, which I know when we were coming up, it wasn't necessarily celebrated to be multidisciplinary, or at least did you find that?
Yeah, definitely. I think even going to art school as a black woman, it wasn't really celebrated. It was more so go to school and become a lawyer, but art school made sense to me at that time.
What was your experience actually trying to adjust to the art world here, actually, in that sense, in your lived experience?
So coming to art school kind of coincided with me moving here from Toronto. And my parents, my sister and I, we were both born and raised in Ontario. But being here in Nova Scotia, where my parents are from, and being here in art school kind of created a canvas, that I wanted to paint, where I wanted to delve deeper into the folklore of Nova Scotia, and also explore my creative, the creative things I wanted to explore. So, just kind of those things kind of married here, and it was like because growing up in Toronto, it's just call it a mosaic of culture, of all kinds of different culture, but it's not until I moved to Nova Scotia that I understood my parents and, and the things that they value and the things that are really important to them. You come and you understand, their connection to land.
Yeah, connection to land. So Cain, I can't remember. Yes, I think your sister did say like you guys have Preston connections, right?
Yeah. So that's where the Cain comes from.
Right. So I've been watching Yellowstone since I busted my leg. Just been binging that, and one of the themes in this show is they which I was surprised at actually. They talk a lot about colonization and how this guy that owns this big Yellowstone ranch is basically a descendant of these colonizers, and he owns all this land. And it made me think immediately. Now that like these lawyers and people like that are like seeing how beautiful this land is, they're trying to get it, and I keep thinking, oh, that's going to happen in Preston. What happens when they figure out what beauty they have out in Preston and people come try to take it from them, just like Yellowstone? What do you make of that?
I think that's the one thing that God is not making any more of his land. So I think that, I think it's been very, very important for people to connect themselves to land. And I know it's been very important for people to have the deeds of the land that they're connected to in their hand. So I think that's been a struggle for some, and especially in terms of maintaining the communities, that are Indigenous and also Black. So it's hard, and a lot of people move out of their communities and buy land elsewhere. So, I don't have all the answers. I didn't buy land, in North Preston. I bought my home someplace else. So it's hard.
Sorry, I didn't even mean to go that deep on you. I just my mind just goes where it takes me sometimes.
I think it's important. I think it's very, very important. To maintain a sense of community. Wherever that is. To be connected to those you are connected to, and to connect to your land. And to pour into it.
Yeah, very, very well said. So you're an educator today. You're an art teacher. Is that what you do, or what?
Yes. I'm an art. I was with Halifax Regional Arts in a position called a visual arts specialist with an African Nova Scotian focus.
Okay.
So that was a great role in terms of my journey and delving deeper into the folklore and the different artifacts and just the stories that are connected here, and also to the broader diaspora, connecting to different African folklore and, just different ways of bringing an Afrocentric art curriculum to the students in the Halifax Regional School Board.
That's interesting. And so you're the first Black art teacher I've met in Nova Scotia, actually, and I'm gonna go somewhere that I probably shouldn't go, but I'm gonna go there anyway. How have you experienced or seen or even noticed, or maybe it doesn't happen at all, or do you think it matters about higher education when it comes to artists and African Nova Scotian students that you address? And do you feel like the higher education institutions are doing a good job of getting into the places where those students who could potentially do well are?
I think what needs to happen, and before we think about higher education, we need to think about lower education and creating a model of education where kids are feeling more connected to the curriculum at a younger age. Like I taught African Canadian studies, that happens in high school. But I'm thinking at a younger age. I think students, and not just students in predominantly black communities, but all students need to get more of a sense of all of the cultures that are here in Nova Scotia.
Absolutely. Yeah, because I think that's part of you see what's happening with CRT in the States and everything else. It's like we all have to know about each other in order to accept each other as a community, and that means telling the truth about what happened. And I think it's important that it's not just one group that does it and one group that doesn't. So yeah, I don't know. We kind of went deep. This was supposed to be just light art chatter, but thank you for. I mean, I've known of your name has just been out there as an artist that I know in the community for a long time. So I respect that, and I was so excited when I saw your email come in. So thank you, and I appreciate you just being one of the few to represent us in the community here and keep it going. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Art Pays Me. Hit me up on socials at Art Pays Me pretty much everywhere and let me know what you think. I love connecting with listeners. If you're an artist looking for clothes that speak to the creative lifestyle, check out artpaysme.com. Peace.